Greetings, my scattered sisters and brothers in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you today, wherever you find yourself scattered, and that you know that his presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. Yesterday, I heard a great sermon on Jonah chapter 1 by my associate pastor, DeAndre Jones. DeAndre is doing a series on the book of Jonah right now. And in the second half of chapter 1, that's where Jonah is thrown into the depths of the sea. I'm assuming you know the story of Jonah, that Jonah was supposed to go to Nineveh. He went the opposite way, did not want to go to Nineveh because he did not want the Lord to show mercy to Nineveh. And so he chose to go the opposite way. He did not want to see the city of Nineveh saved. Well, I could not help but contrast Jonah with Jesus, and especially thinking about Jesus as Jesus has been praying in John chapter 17. And the first contrast is pretty obvious. Jesus was obedient, Jonah was disobedient. Jesus was going where God sent him into the world and to go to the cross. Jonah was refusing to go where God sent him, going the very opposite direction, going to Nineveh. But the contrast is much deeper than simply at the level of obedience, disobedience. Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh because he did not want to see the Ninevites saved. He did not want them to be with him in terms of experiencing the blessing of God, in terms of knowing the joy of God's salvation. He wanted to exclude the Ninevites from that, even though God was going to give him the Ninevites so that they could know God, so that they could experience the blessings that Jonah himself had received. Jesus, exact opposite. He came into the world and went to those who God sent him to and embraced those that God gave to him so that they could be with him in his relationship with God, that they could become children of God, that we could become children of God. So here's Jonah. He would rather die, be thrown into the depths of the sea, than to share God with the Ninevites. Yet he just could not handle that. He was so filled with rage and hatred for the Ninevites, and so convinced that God would show them mercy, that there was no way he was going to go to the Ninevites. He would rather die. He could have said, okay, the storm came, God, I'm wrong. And he could have told the other people, the sailors, to turn the ship around so that he could go back to Nineveh, and that would have calmed the storm. But instead of turning around, at this point still, he would rather be thrown into the depths of the sea than to have the Ninevites with him in the joy of God's salvation. Jesus going to the cross so that we could be with him in the joy of God's salvation, so that we could be with him in his relationship with the Father and experience the love of the Father ourselves, become part of this communion, part of this family. We could be the children of God. Incredible contrast. Jesus has the heart of God. Jonah's heart, far from God. Jesus wants us to be included in the family, wants us to be part of his relationship with the Father. Jonah, exact opposite. So the question, who am I more like? Who are you more like? Are we more like Jesus? I hope so. I pray so. To where we want others to experience the joy, the love of God, and the joy of salvation in belonging to this family. I pray that we're not like Jonah, to where there are people or people groups that we would rather die than have them be part of the family. Well, wherever you are scattered today, consider Jonah, consider Jesus. Thank God for Jesus. He made a way for us to be part of the family. But now, pray that God gives you, God gives me, God gives us the heart of Jesus. and that there is absolutely no room within our hearts for the heart of Jonah. We need to have that desire of Jesus, that everyone that God would give us, whether they're Ninevites or whomever, that they would know the love, the joy, the peace of belonging to the family of God, of being his children. God bless. Have a great day, and may the Lord give you the heart of Jesus.